Today, let's get to listen to stories of triumph amidst failures, courage despite fear, strength through weakness, and even the occasional hopeful cheer from personal punny experiences. I am your host, RKaye, and this is the BetterU Podcast. What is up, fam? Welcome to today's BetterU Podcast. Thank you so much for joining me. Now, if you were able to join me last week, we did get to touch base on one of the ways in which we get back on track. And so today we continue that journey. Go and join me along my journey. We're together in my journey as I recall some of the main or the most useful ways that has really been able to help me out and has helped out a lot of the clients that I've gotten to work with through the years. Now, as we did mention last week or at the last episode, we strongly have to get in or be able to pinpoint our why, the reason why we're even making this whole fuzz about wanting change within ourselves in terms of taking care of ourselves, not just physically, but also essentially our whole well-being. What is it that, or why is it that we are wanting to take that step toward becoming our better selves? And that's one of the main things that we got to touch base last week. This week, however, we continue on with how does it work? You know, one of the main things that we really need to look into when we want change for the better is not just the reason behind why we're even starting out in the first place. Another key aspect or key ingredient to any transformation is being able to cut out a specific plan. I think this is very important, and this is something that a lot of people get to skip on and don't really necessarily think is important. And that is one of the things that really doesn't make their journey as successful as someone else who has a concrete plan. And what I mean by a plan is it's not essentially what types of programs that you go through, whether you work with a coach or not. What I mean by a concrete plan is being able to really list down what are the things within your current journey that you believe needs change. And as an example, I could let you in on a few of my own experiences as well. You know, when I started out my own journey, I did have to lose a lot of weight, and the essential part of that journey was me getting into physical activity. And one of the many things that got me really loving movement and staying physically active was getting into martial arts. And that was one of the key things that really made my entire life flip the switch from, you know, not wanting to do anything to absolutely doing something. And of course, that was a plan that wasn't made by me. It was essentially made by my mother. And that's the thing though. If you place yourself into a scenario where you believe you need to make a change for the better, in terms of my example as myself, you know, I was quite an overweight child. And during that time, you know, my mom wanting me to become a healthier self, she was like, maybe you should enroll into something that would be interesting at the same time, that would really help you out to lose maybe a few pounds or so, at least first. So that to me was already a very good example of starting out the journey into change. Although it was something that didn't really come from myself, but being a parent, my mom planned that out. There was a reason. The reason was I needed to lose weight. I needed to be healthier at that point in time at my age. And the second is the plan was to look for a specific activity that I knew would be interesting and that would make me shed a few lbs. At the same time, I probably, well, knowing my mom, I know that she meant well. And so she knew that if I joined Taekwondo that time, that would be something that I would really be able to stick to. Mind you, when I was young, like any other child, you wanted to do every other thing that, your classmates or your friends were into. But my mom, knowing me, I was pretty sure that she did have a clue that I wanted to do something that was very unique, something that I could do on my own pretty much. And so, yeah, those are just a few examples that you could look into as well in your own journey. What is it that is currently happening in your own life? What is it? As simple as have a special occasion that I will be attending in the next couple of months, and I just want to not look to fitted into the clothes that I'm wearing. It can be as simple as that. It can be a groundbreaking change where it is essentially your mindfulness every day. You can't really sleep that well because why? You can barely breathe while you're lying down on your bed. It can be as groundbreaking as that. And to me, being able to plan it out or have a specific plan ahead of time will always be something that can help you out and assist you throughout that journey. I already have a reason why I want to do this, but I also in turn want to have a plan. That plan is pretty much your blueprint. You go back to it as much as you go back to the reason behind why you're doing it. And I'm saying this because a lot of people, they do have a why in the back of their mind. If they forget about it and they don't have a plan as well to look into, it kind of just disappears. The whole importance of their journey just, gone with the wind. And it's something that is very useful and constructive when you really want to change, because it's kind of like we say, a backup plan. So if you have plan A in your reach, you have plan B as well. And planning, to me, I know some people are not really good with planning or, getting things written out for them. I know that's something very tedious and not a lot of people really like doing that. But to me, when you say planning, when it comes to your own journey to change, it is essentially a plan is kind of like a contract. Okay, it's for the lack of term, you can use it as a written contract that I decided to make a change for the better, and this is my plan. Okay, along the way, I have an entire year to do the plan. All right. So as I mentioned, it is kind of a contract between yourself and yourself. All right. To make the change become something legit. It's not something that you just throw up in the air and pray and wish that it comes true. All right. When you really want to become your better self, it really does take a lot of energy. It does take a lot of time. And it's not simply something that we say out in the wind or we say out into the universe and it, snap of a finger, ta-da, this is the change that you wanted and you're transformed. It's not that way. I really hope it is, but if it is, then I could lose my job. That's just putting things into a little bit of a punny situation, guys. But when we get into the nitty-gritty of wanting to become person A into person B, it's not essentially a different person. It's just that you're becoming the you that you were supposed to be. I always believe that transformations are hopefully something that will turn you from person A to person A plus, right? So the essence of having a plan is to really concretely give you that advantage of making sure that you follow through. And that is something I believe is lacking with a lot of us, including myself. I've also had times where I plan it in my head, and to tell you frankly, those I plan it in my head scenarios don't really push through. They don't really come into fruition and they don't really become a productive part of what I tell myself to do. And so you also need to find it in yourself to what is it that I can do that will make this plan feasible? What do I do on my own that really makes things jumpstart, and really become a reality? Because for each person, it'll be different. Like I mentioned, for myself, it may not be the same for you guys. For myself, it really, really does help to write it down, maybe a notebook, maybe an online calendar, a planner. It will depend on yourself. But again, if you really want it to happen, you gotta really put your foot down. That's how a plan will really, really work for you. And now, speaking of plan, of course, a plan will list out all of the different things that you will be needing to do. And a lot of people, when they want change to happen, when they want a certain result to happen, sometimes they get stuck with just the idea. And so you need several steps into that plan. And so if it needs to be something that, I want to eat better, let's say. All right. I am not a nutritionist. I'm not certified to give you any meal plans of any sort. But generally speaking, if you say you want to eat better, one of the things that you should be listing down there is, of course, not just to eat better, but to list down all of the food that you're supposed to be eating. And so as that particular example, your plan has to have tools that need you to get started. And if it's something that's related to going to the gym, maybe you write down in that plan the specific days and times that you want to go to the gym. Again, as mentioned, if you want to eat better, you got to write down the type of food that you should be getting, and as well as the food that you shouldn't really be getting too much of. All right. So plans are not just there for you to write down what it is that you should be doing. It should also include what other things or what specific things to the plan is included. And I'm telling you this specific detail to it because that is what is lacking with a lot of people who want the change that they need. All right. People just, again, don't even plan it out. They think that as long as they wing it or they copy off somebody else's plan, that they're going to be fine. All right. It won't necessarily work out that way. Maybe it could work out for you for the first maybe week or so, but eventually there will be a specific time within your journey where it just cuts you off and you go into a plateau and nothing is happening. All right. So plans are meant to be for you. And included in that plan as well is what is specific to you. So let's say that I want to lose weight. You tell yourself that I want to lose weight and I want to lose weight within a month. And you tell yourself, oh, I want to lose 50 pounds in a month. And to me, that is just not that realistic. It takes time to lose that specific amount of weight. So making sure that your plan is not just concrete, it doesn't just have the tools. You also have to make sure that your planning is realistic to your goal. All right. We can't say that for a month in, you'll be able to be one of the fastest people in the world and run a full marathon under an hour. That's just not something that is realistic to happen, all right? Can happen maybe through a miracle, but as much as I want to tell you guys that you can change from person A to A plus in just the span of a very short amount of time, that just really doesn't work that way. Okay. So in terms of also planning out, you're just not there to write down the exact plan. You're not just there to write down the tools that will help you out to ensure that your plan will work out. It also has to be something that's easily reachable. Of course, you go through each step along the way. You want to make sure that every step is done. You want to make sure that you have a small win to always take with you each and every day. But it has to be enough of a challenge, but not extremely much of a challenge that it turns up to be something impossible for you to do. Okay. Again, you can lose those 50 pounds, but it'll take maybe 3 months, 6 months, a year. All right. You can run that marathon under an hour, but it takes a lot of time to do it. So that is another part of the journey, guys. We don't just look into why am I doing this? I also have to have a plan to be able to continuously go through the journey and not just stop abruptly and just not give a care in the world with how my health and my fitness is. All right. So I hope that today's rant, I hope that today's episode has helped you out or given you a few more tips with your own journey as well, guys. I know my my podcast episodes. It seems to be a lot of ranting, a lot of just really getting ideas out there that I know I have related to these ideas as well. I have been through quite a number of mini journeys through my own journey, and that's why I know, guys, that you don't just need a reason to be here. You also need to remind yourself that you got a plan, and your plan has a backup plan, and that your plan has many steps that you need to go through, and each day will always be a part of that journey, and it's always going to be something that life throws at you. Many things that life throws at you, but you gotta be able to still follow through with what you have in store, what you have planned in your journey to change. Don't let it stop you. Don't let life's obstacles stop you along the way. That's why you've got to have the plan as well, because if planning won't work today, I got plan B. All right. So that is it for today's episode, guys. I hope that you were duly entertained by my blabbering over here. I also hope that you're able to get a few tidbits here and there as you listened and watched today's episode. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for joining me today. Coach RKaye here, always reminding you to never give up on your movement journey because it's never too late to move. I'll see you guys again next week. Bye.